What's up, people? How's everybody doing out there? Welcome back, friends, to Boom SPJ Live. Glad to have you all here. Brian seems to think that the electricity is out here in California. It is not out in California. I was just kind of, I guess I could say I wasn't really feeling like going all kinds of crazy with the guitar rig today. I'm actually right now kind of in this like research project for a series of videos related to these acoustic guitars from a company called Alhambra out of Spain. So because of that, I've been like holed up here in the studio all week, like playing these different, I have four of them, four different acoustic guitars from Alhambra that I'll be working on some videos of. I really like this one. I think this one's my favorite. But yeah, just kind of working on these videos and seeing how things are going. Just been miking them up in different ways and just trying to see what's what. It's been kind of interesting. Did I disable audio compression? I don't know what you mean, Ben. This is the first time I'm trying StreamYard. I figured before I, actually invest the money in all this kind of stuff, might as well, see how it goes. I'm just using the internal mic on the laptop right now, so I don't really know how things are technically going. Input level on the microphone is not. Let me try this. Do not use ambient noise reduction. Maybe that'll be a little bit better overall. So right now I'm having my laptop on a platform in front of me, and yeah. The disable audio processing. I mean, like that. Honestly, I won't even know how this turns out until I actually watch it after we're all done here. So this is kind of an experiment, so hence the very low-tech deal with going with the acoustic guitars, as well as we're going to play a little bit of bass later on, because I got orange bass stuff, which is really awesome. It's kind of cool to be able to play some really sick bass this week. It's basically been bass and acoustic guitar this week. So we're going to see how these things go with the StreamYard. I kind of want to... I got it really most... kind of signed up for it, and I'm testing it more so that I can actually bring guests on and have it be very simple. Since it seems now like everybody's kind of getting their feet wet in the live streaming game. So if you haven't been doing it for a long time, there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. And so I feel like StreamYard at this point is probably the better option in terms of like a really simple live streaming platform. So that if I have somebody on who's not totally familiar, I can just, do the thing. But yeah, guys, how's everybody doing out there? But if StreamYard works out well enough, I might end up, doing simulcast streams, like pay for the tier where you do, like, you can stream to 2 platforms at a time, stream to YouTube, stream to Facebook. I think that would be a really cool thing to be able to do. Oh. Damn good coffee. Damn good coffee. Let's see who we got in the chat right now. Tyler Jackson. Tyler, how you doing, buddy? Hope all is well. Hope you're enjoying that fuzzbender. Mr. Ben Coombs, Brian Landreth in the house. Terry's G&G. How's it going? I see Batman hasn't started yet. Yes. Awesome. Who else we got in here? Francisco is here as well. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Brian Landreth with the comment, Spanish guitar from Spain. Exactly. We'll talk a little bit more about Alhambra in a bit. Got more new comments coming in. Looks like Francisco has finished a V and the quarantine has let him finish his project. Awesome. Aaron is busy being dad, but says hello. We all have responsibilities right now. That's the way it goes. But I'm glad you guys are here. Francisco, you're going to have to show us all pictures of that V. So yeah, it's this week. What has been going on this week? Well, when I left you guys last week, we had discovered that we had another plumbing leak in the house, which was not fun to deal with. It's basically started ruining the floors in our house. Over the weekend, I had my dad come out and help me tear down some drywall and some plywood in order to be able to access everything in the wall. Found like a nice 3.5, 4-foot crack in a drain pipe, which was fantastic. So, had to deal with that, which is fun, and it's not fun. There's a big old hole in our wall right now, which is really awesome. Luckily, the TV cabinet, covers it up so we don't see it, but I know it's there. And it bothers me a little bit, just because water damage is just one of those things I can't put up with. But other than that, playing a lot of these Alhambra acoustics. Like I told you guys, I have 4 of these. I'm not going to show you all of them because they're all kind of behind my setup right now. And this is the one that I really wanted to play today. This is their auditorium model, which I think is my favorite of the 4. But they are really, really something special. And I've been playing the orange little bass amp, with the orange OBC 112 bass cab. It's a 112 bass cab, really lightweight, sounds really good. And then I have the bass butler, the preamp pedal on top of the amp right there. And then the terrace amp arrived finally as well. So there you go. I'm really excited. I'm still kind of working out like how exactly this is going to work itself into everyday use, and I'm sure that I will. I'm sure I'll find a way. But for now, it's going to be fun experimenting. And then last week I got the red from Spiral Electric Effects, and this thing, I don't know, Tom Cram might be my new favorite overdrive pedal builder, because between that and the yellow Spiral, I swear to God, his pedals are just so good. So good. Seems like Brian really wants to talk. Timmy! Brian, thanks for the comment about that Timmy video. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's been kind of crazy the way that all these new overdrive pedals have been coming into my life, between the yellow Spiral, the Timmy, and now with red. That's just 3 great overdrive pedals that just work so well for me as a guitar player, and just they all have this great innate musicality to them that just can't be denied. They just sound so good, and it's so, you know, so fantastic. Francisco is making sure that we pronounce it correctly. It's Alhambra. But for the sake of our Americanized speak, Alhambra. You know, whatever. It is good. I did take many, many years of Spanish class, so yes. Brian, no, Flex Seal for that leak would not have been the right fix. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about these. Alhambra acoustics. So if you guys haven't seen the video with Mike Peterson of Map Guitars that I did on the road, I highly recommend that you guys go check that out, because he kind of gives a little bit of a clue as to these guys in our little chat. And basically, I got these guitars from him. In that video, you would have seen that he he spent about a year of his life in the recent past in Spain. Oh, that's good. And he was actually sort of apprenticing, learning, working with these guys. And so basically, what these guitars are is they're the first steel string acoustics that this company has built in their history. They've been building, nylon string guitars since the 50s. So they've got quite a bit of history. And last year, they decided to introduce a steel string acoustic guitar set. And they have 4 models. They have a Dreadnought. They have this, which is the Auditorium. They have a Double O and a Jumbo. And so I have all 4 of those guitars, and we are going to be taking a look at all of them in some upcoming videos over the course of... This is probably going to be about a month's worth of videos, highlighting these guitars, talking a little bit about the company, its history, what makes these guitars so unique, and also how I feel about them. And I should say, I'm a Taylor guy. For me, Taylor acoustic guitars always have played the best, and I think the big thing for me was when I got my Big Baby, which I believe they build in Mexico. I was really astounded by the fact that this acoustic guitar, that's essentially a value acoustic guitar, Because I think Big Babies only really retail tops at $500. Maybe 600 is pushing it, but 500 I think is what I've seen them go for. They just played so good, and they sound so good. So for me, I've always kind of looked at Taylor's as kind of the benchmark. And I would definitely equate a lot of what Alhambra does with their acoustic guitar line, their steel string acoustic line. I would attribute a lot of the things that you hear and will see with these guitars, what you would see comparatively on a Taylor, mid to high priced Taylors. And the cool thing is with these different models that I have, these steel strings are sort of like a semi-custom job. So you're not paying insane money. I think the price ranges are like 1,500 to like 2 grand. And you can choose different options and specs to go with them. There's some basic packages that you can just get it as is, and they all come with gig bags, like really nice, thick, padded gig bags, and they're constructed in a very like Spanish tradition, and just basically taking the steel string acoustic guitar and putting decades of experience in building classical flamenco nylon string guitars into a steel string acoustic. As ES and ES335 stands for Electric Spanish, so there's a lot of Spanish heritage within this instrument, and to have a company that is so steeped in one particular style of guitar that basically would go on to birth so many other styles of guitar, to throw to basically throw their name into the hat to be building guitars like this is really pretty cool. So this one is pretty basic. It's not too feature rich, but I think it's the combination of everything that, for me, this particular guitar just excels above all the other ones. The top is a cedar top, which they do use a lot in nylon string acoustic guitars. Actually, I also have another guitar made in Spain, the Ramos guitar that I have. That's a Spanish cedar body with a maple top. And this is a Spanish cedar top with a sapele back and side. I believe this is a sapele neck. We have an ebony fretboard, and this is their more compact headstock. They have a larger one as well. And then I don't know if you probably won't really be able to see, but the tuners on the headstock are Graphtec ratio tuners, which Mike has used on several of his builds, and they are just absolutely fantastic tuners. Stay in tune incredibly well, and also just in general are really solid. You can get really nice fine adjustments on it. And I just love the way that all the frequencies are balanced. Bass isn't overly boomy, the highs aren't too shimmery. It's got a nice warmth to the mid-range, it's not too barky. And Francisco's mentioning the fretboard. It's got a little bit of that ebony streaking to it. It's not perfectly, it's not the perfect stained black kind of look that so many people want. But I know Taylor's big on sustainability, and they were one of the first that I really saw using like I don't want to say discarded, that's not really the word, the less desirable ebony in their stuff. And I think it looks awesome. We got some more people going on. I saw I want to make sure that I say hello to everybody. There's Music Therapy Laz. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to have you. Thanks for being here. Janice Lala in the house. Hi, Janice. I know you're not going to be here for long, but that's okay. I'm happy you're here for just a little bit. Let's see. Looks like Janice got a new LP special that she's not entirely thrilled with yet. Janice, what is it about your LP special that you're not exactly thrilled with? Maybe I can give you some tips on some things that you might be able to do in order to, make it work for you. Russellmania 7 Space 7. Russellmania 7. How's it going, buddy? Let's see. Hello, Lillian. How are you? Love the ring of that guitar. I know. That's why that's why this one is my favorite. It just seems to really resonate properly for an acoustic guitar. Um, the dreadnought is sort of the classic shape, and Alhambra does make a dreadnought, which we will look at in a video. Um, we've got the jumbo and the double O as well, and this is what they call the auditorium shape. So, you can think of like grand auditoriums. I know Taylor makes a grand auditorium. I don't know if Martin makes one. Um, but there's just something about this particular model where, the shoulders seem a little bit slimmer than your standard dreadnought model. The waist right here seems a little thinner than a jumbo, as well as what I guess you could call the hips. I don't know, shoulder, waist, hips. It just makes sense to me. Um, it's a less wide, and it's not as deep of a body, so it's definitely a very resonant guitar, but it is able to balance all those frequencies that an acoustic guitar can create, and just really warm things up, and make it so that the highs are really well balanced. There's not an overload of low end, and the mids nice and singing and warm. Just I don't know if you can still hear the sustain, but it's still going, which is pretty incredible. that song would need to be in a much more altered tuning in order to be pulled off properly. But yeah, these things just... they sound so good, and I want to make sure that these videos, when they come out, that they'll actually sound really good. Luckily, having done some experiments with them this week and miking them up in various different ways and trying to get the best possible sounds out of them, they all record incredibly well. I don't think you guys will be terribly disappointed with the sound quality of them when the videos come out. But I'm curious, so I'll put the question to you guys and get your perspective on it. How, when it comes to acoustic guitar like demos that you've seen, or whether or not you've seen any acoustic guitar demos, what exactly do you expect to hear in terms of the sound quality? I mean, one of the things that I was considering is doing a couple different segments with some of the more popular miking techniques. Basically doing, like, right in front of the sound hole, about like 6 to 8 inches out, so that there's room for the guitar, to breathe with the microphone, and just recording all of them that way. But then there's also miking to the point where it's more pointed at the 12th fret. There's some other double miking techniques that we can do as well. So what I'm asking you guys is, what exactly are you expecting to hear in an acoustic guitar demo? What are you most looking for in terms of the sound? Obviously, I'm going to be trying my best to make sure that the natural sound that I'm hearing of the guitar is what comes through on those videos. But obviously, we need to make some certain concessions for YouTube's compression of the videos and other post-production things that I'm going to need to do, which will introduce some measure of compression. But my goal is basically to put a microphone plugged in, my favorite acoustic guitar microphone, which is a Neumann U87, plugged into my Avalon tube preamp. I just think it's the best mic preamp that I have for acoustic guitar and vocals. And very minimal EQing. I think I'll probably run like a low pass filter set at the sort of sub frequency range, so you're not getting too much rumble out of it. But I want to try to keep the sound that is coming into the microphone as quickly as least processed as possible, so that you guys are really hearing the sounds of the guitars. And that can be kind of difficult because a lot of guys, here's the interesting thing about acoustic guitars and why for years I feel like, one, I've not wanted to demo acoustic guitars, but also what makes doing an acoustic guitar demo so hard. Now, if you notice, I'm holding the guitar as I would normally play it. Now, think about how you're hearing that. You're hearing it up here. You're not hearing it down here. So if I hold them like this and start strumming it with my ear right in front of the guitar, that instantly sounds more different to this. Up here, there's trimming off some of that low end. I get a little bit more, pardon me, burped a little. I get a little bit more of the sparkle rather than get the warmth, and I get more of the sparkle and the detail as opposed to getting warmth and low end from it. So I also thought it might be kind of fun to do a segment where I have a matched pair of AKG C414 microphones, basically put one on each side of my head and just play so that we can get that kind of perspective. I just thought it would be a fun experiment just to see how that sounds, and it would also just be closer to how you would hear it if you were playing it as possible. But, that's neither here nor there. But, There you go. I'd just love to know what you guys would want to hear in those. And Brian has clearly made himself known. He just wants to hear the intro to Pinball Wizard. I don't. I'll consider it, Brian. And the only reason I'm going to say I'm going to consider it is because I don't want to get flagged for demonetization. As of right now, I want as many possible revenue streams as possible between paying demo work, Patreon. You can donate to the channel through PayPal as well, and YouTube. AdSense income. So I don't want to lose opportunities to make money at this point. But I'll see if you know what? I could probably doctor Pinball Wizard a little bit, Make it to the point where it's like, oh, that's kinda Pinball Wizard, but the YouTube algorithm won't know the difference. That's the best part. Tube would add a nice warmth to the sound. Pure direct would be best. So Terry, with the ones that I have, only 2 of the guitars have acoustic electric pickup setups. So we'll definitely hear DI on those. But when you don't have a DI on an acoustic guitar, you can't do it. And not only that, the problem with just like pure direct, I feel is like you hear more the sound of the pickup than you do the guitar. But luckily, these acoustic electrics have a blend of a microphone and a saddle pickup. It's a Fishman Electronics, and so we can blend between the 2 of them and find a sound that works really good. And they sound really good, like really freaking awesome. Basically, if I were to spec out one of these guitars for myself, I'd want an acoustic electric version of exactly this, because they sound so good. Any chance you'd want to hear some pedals on those? Any specific ones that I might have? Let me know in the comments. Brian's asking about putting the mic up by your ear. Yeah, exactly. So basically, if you think about it, your ears are nothing more than just microphones for the vibrations that we hear as sound, and they're processed almost exactly the same way that microphones do. Microphones basically replicate how we hear sound in a way, especially condenser microphones, since they basically have to, have some sort of electric charge going through them. But yeah, because essentially you're picking up sound here, and your source is down here. So if you had your microphones up here, it would more accurately represent how you are hearing sound in the room. That's why you see a lot of, that's why there's room microphones and whatnot, stereo pairs, panned left and right, or in some sort of fashion to kind of capture the sound of sound in a space. It just so happens that what we're trying to do in this experiment is we're not necessarily trying to hear the sound in a space, we're more trying to gain the perspective from which we hear the sound source. So that would be the whole point of that experiment. We got JJ in the chat. How you doing, JJ? Thanks for joining in. He has a question. Have I played the PRS Holcomb model? Yes, I actually did get the chance to play the stained brown model, not the one with the fancy black and purple finish, which I really like the finish of that. I got a chance to play it at NAMM at the PRS booth and was impressed. I liked it, but I kind of felt like I was plugged into the wrong amp to play it. PRS had a Sunzera, I think it was a Sunzera 50. That was sort of like their demo room amplifier. And I just didn't feel like that was the kind of thing to get an appropriate sound to play with a 7-string. Because I think that's much more of like an old school tone kind of thing. Um, it's a great sounding little amplifier, and I'd love to have one. Every other guitar I plugged into it sounded great, but the Holcomb just didn't seem like it was the right choice, in my opinion. But guitar still felt great, still played great. I'd really love to be able to get one and play it through my rig so that I could, really decide whether or not the guitar is actually any good. Um, 'Cause that's just the way that I prefer to test things out is, getting them here and getting them here in the studio, getting them in my home, and just going to town with it. So yeah, I think it is a good guitar, and you can't go wrong with PRS SEs. It's it's not possible, I don't think, personally. Okay, looks like we got a couple of we got Terry wants to hear fuzz on the acoustic, as well as Russellmania wanted to hear the IC muff. So yeah, I think we could make that happen. And then Russell's also bringing up the Fender Acoustic OD pedal. If only, if only, if I had it, I probably would give it a shot. Um, I have to be honest though, like hearing some demos of it, I'm not terribly thrilled. So I don't really know. It'll all just depend. I suppose one of the other things too about it is it won't just be fuzzing and distorting the direct. It'll also fuzz and distort the the pickup blend, the microphone and the direct, which could be really interesting. Could be really interesting. It's probably really fun. Brian, he has a PRS Sunzera 50. It's more like a good sounding Fender amp, twinish. Yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that. The cleans definitely felt like it was in that wheelhouse and that school of thought. The gain channels felt like they could do a little bit more than a cranked twin could. Maybe. But at the same time, it sounded really good. Mm. Damn fine coffee. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been drinking too much coffee this week. How's everybody holding up in the quarantines? We've been pretty much on lockdown here for the last, well, not really lockdown, but we've been holed up in here for a while. A couple weeks at least at this point. I like this feature where I can bring your guys' comments up and everything. It's kind of fun. Brian put KT-77s in the Sunzera. I imagine that gave it a lot of kick in the low end, personally. Yep, sounding good. Brian's working his ass off, but you get hazard pay. Brian, I don't actually know. What do you do? Because obviously you get hazard pay. You might be involved in one of the essential fields, but I'd love to know. Just, stay safe. Stay healthy out there as best as you can. We in Ontario had our quarantine extended 2 more weeks, so basically all of April now. I've been starting to hear a lot more people talk about the quarantines lasting into summer. And I hope that it ends, around then. I would love to see, I would love to see us all, I have the utmost faith in our medical workers, not necessarily our medical system, but, a lot of the people working on the front lines, I think, are doing as best as they can. Truck driver. I suppose if you're not coming into contact with too many people, Brian, it ain't too bad, huh? Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I love Over the Hills and Far Away. That's one of my favorite acoustic guitar riffs of all time. It just sounds so good. And I'll tell you one weird thing that I've been messing around with these acoustic guitars, and just acoustic guitars in general. And this is a little trick that I learned from Richie Blackmore. And he mentioned in an interview that he always tuned his acoustic guitars down a half a step, or a semitone, as he would say. And for some reason, tuning the acoustic guitar down a half step, a semitone, for those of you that are, use the terminology, there's just a little bit of a different resonant peak to the guitar that, to me, almost everything you play just comes alive a little bit more. It's a really strange thing. Like, and then if you actually want to play leads, the less tension you have. Of course, you can't do like the huge, ginormous, like, well, I just did one. That little, like, lessening of the tension, just, you can really grab onto those notes and get that wide vibrato going. And then yeah, I think it works. So if you haven't tried detuning your acoustic guitar down a half step, give it a shot. Because I find that I have a lot more fun on the acoustic guitar when it's tuned that way, personally. Hey, it's Gillis DeBilio. How you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. I did get your message, by the way. Sorry I just never got responded to. I'm so sorry about that. I don't like to do that to people. We're still going strong inside the house. The situation is still escalating, but let's hope it will stop ASAP. Indeed, that's at this point, that's all we can do. Protect ourselves, protect our families, social distance, stock up on things, don't go out as much. I've been trying to think of some other things that we can do in order to, like, so that I can do something more to help you guys during this time. If I'm not filming anything, I want to at least be working on something that you guys will inevitably be watching. And at this point, I want to do maybe a little bit more. So I'm thinking that over the course of the next couple weeks, as long as these quarantines are going on, there's still going to be videos coming out. But I'm hoping that we can get some guests on SPJ Live, or maybe do some special live streams to just chat with some friends and some industry colleagues and check in with everybody and see how they're doing. Let's see. Terry, I ordered 6L6 power tube or my Bugera G5. Going to be interesting to hear how the amp sound with tongue soles and 6L6 in the power section until a 12B7. Huh. Well, 12AX7, that's the classic preamp tube, bud. And a 6L6, that'll definitely give you that sort of like classic American thing going on. And it really depends for me on the maker of the amp that I either like 6L6s or I don't. Probably my favorite amp builder using 6L6s right now is Victory. Martin Kidd is the only amp designer that I've, in recent years, been able to play a 6L6 based amplifier and not wanted to just like throw the amplifier out the window. So that's nice. Looks like Terry just tried the E flat trick. Tuned E flat, and as you said, it's almost like it dynamically opens it up more. Exactly. That's one of the interesting things about it. And you know, I might have to do my own video related to the whole guitar string phenomenon that's been, going on through YouTube over the course of the last couple months, because I got opinions on that. And spoiler alert, I think the videos are all BS. And I'll explain why if I do that video. And if I don't do that, maybe one day I'll rant about it on a live stream. Channel, how's it going, buddy? Welcome to the chat. Hope you've been enjoying yourself as you've been watching. What kind of strings are on the acoustic? Well, what kind of strings I use are different than what's on these. What are on these, which you can tell by the colored ball ends, are D'Addario's. I believe they are the EX Bronze acoustic strings. Personally, I prefer Elixir phosphor bronze acoustic strings, which are coated. And I like that. I like them mostly because, because they're coated, there's less finger noise. And sometimes and I do that mainly for recording, because I don't gig out with acoustics very often. Then when it comes down to it, I don't really want like all this going on when I really just want to hear. I want to make sure that I hear the music and not the noise. So, and yes, there are scientific definitions for music and noise. So that's basically that. And because I don't pick up acoustic guitars very often, because the strings are coated, Elixirs do last a lot longer. And I don't feel like I use the nano web coating, but I don't feel like the coating affects the tone adversely at all. I think it actually, they sound about as good as any non-coated string, and they feel great, and boom, there you go. Russell seems to think that it's a bit more chewy when tuned down. That's a good adjective for it. I like that. Chewy. Doug J in the house. How you doing, Doug? Thanks for joining in. Hi from England, UK. Keep well, Sean. You as well, Doug. Thank you so much for making yourself known and joining us here. Hope you guys in the UK are staying healthy. Hope you and your family are staying healthy. Use this time. Stay in, stay healthy, do some interesting stuff and fun stuff with your kids, introduce them to new things. We can make this time worthwhile. It's just up to us to figure out how we want to make it worthwhile. You made me plug into the Sanzera game. Yep, a big 50-watt Tweed champ. It nails the Funk 49 tone perfect. That's awesome. Man, I'm gonna... I've been trying to get a hold of the guys at Friedman for a while, but we just can't seem to get on the phone. But I really like their Buxom Betty, which I know is much more of a Fender-style amp for Dave than a like the Marshall style that he's normally known for making. But yeah, I mean, basically, Marshalls are nothing more than modified Fenders. Dumbles are nothing more than modified Fenders. And Fenders are nothing more than a modified telephone circuit. Or something to that effect. Learned that from a teacher in recording school. You know, I promised some bass guitar was going to happen. I think we should make some bass guitar happen. It's in the title, after all. The one with acoustic guitars and bass. We might as well do that. Oh, I love this bass. Janice talking about her experience. This time is all the same for me. I only go to a grocery store, pharmacy, to my guys' doctor's appointments, and the only thing I can't go to is open jams. Yeah, I actually did a podcast recently with a friend of mine. I'll have to remember to throw that link up for you guys to check out, because it was really fun. Me and my friend Chris, we've been friends since college, and I was talking about how basically right now, this is pretty much business as usual for me. There's not a whole lot different to my life. Let me know if the bass is overloading the microphone at all. That one needs a pick. What am I thinking? Bass sounds okay, pick makes it clip. Oh well, I do like the bass with a pick, personally. Been really digging playing around with this orange bass stuff. So if I turn that off, I have the bass butler running into the little bass thing. It's very much like a smooth kind of bass tone. I have the pad on the input right now, the little bass thing. And we're not turned up very loud either, but I definitely am utilizing the bass butler to get a really nice amount of compression and also getting like a really nice wallop of lows. Oh God, Terry's requesting me play a Primus song. I don't know how to play that one. I used to know some Claypool riffs, but not many right now. I have definitely tried his little strumming technique. Southbound Pachyderm, I don't know that one either. Let's see. I'll figure something out. But Gillis actually brings up how it sounds cleaner now, and that's because the bass butler, when I turned it off, it just has that clean bass path. So when I turn it on, it has a dirty guitar amp path that the bass is running through. So if I, let's see, just kind of messing with my, can turn it up a little bit. Yes, Francisco, indeed. Warwick, great effing basses. This is like, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily my dream bass, but it's pretty damn close. Being a child of the late 90s and early 2000s, you know, I really started getting into music when nu metal was popular, and all the bassists were using Warwick basses. So a lot of those bass tones that I associate with my formative years, they all come from Warwick. So it's so cool to be able to have a bass so closely related to that sound. And especially one like this. This isn't even top of the line Warwick, and I can do just about anything I need to do bass-wise with it. The neck pickup is actually quite P-bassy. Turn off the distortion. So, pretty cool. Oh, we got a super chat from Testament 214. Buddy, first off, thank you so much. I don't know if you've been in the chat before, but welcome. And thank you so much for that. That was really cool of you to do. I greatly appreciate it. You didn't even ask a question or anything, but I want to acknowledge you. Thank you so much, buddy. I do appreciate it. So, yeah, basically for me, I just, you know, I can do my, I can do the whole jazz bass thing too. And then I can do the bridge pickup, and that's where I can start working on my, you know, best attempts at Jaco Pastorius. And it's got all the sounds I need, and it's got the, you know, blend for the pickups. It's got an active treble boost and cut. It's got a bass boost and cut, and then pretty much whatever the amp is putting out, and it's pretty much exactly what I need. Francisco asking if I've tried short scale basses. I've tried several short scale basses. Currently, the one that has caught my interest the most is Gibson did the short scale double cut Les Paul. That sounds really, really cool. I've also played a short scale Gresh bass. It's like a single pickup thing. Short scale Dan Electros have a really, really unique tone. And yeah, short scale basses are great, but they definitely have their place. They're not the sort of be all end all option. So when it comes to bass, especially for stuff like I normally do with, my band and just my everyday uses, I need something that, it's got that more traditional long scale or more of the modern long scale with, there's 24 frets on this bass. I am never going to need 24 frets on a bass, but that extra little, stretch going on there with the strings is really helpful for me to make sure that the sound stays nice and tight. So I don't typically go for short scales, but I do have a lot of fun with them. They're definitely a really cool thing. Jay Steen is here. How's it going, buddy? Good to have you. And there's Mr. Troublemaker himself. It's Aaron Lee of Albus Band. Good to have you here, buddy. Holy hell, that was a lot of parenting crammed into a short window. Well, I guess the bright side of it is that you and the Wonder Twins get more time to spend together. Oh God, 4 kids' homework assignments online for the kids, dinner, baths, and medicine. Oh my boy. Let's put the distortion back on for this one. Yep, it's a lot of fun. So much talk about kids right now. Hope all you parents out there are staying as sane as you possibly can. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, to have the kids around all the time. Ooh, that was hefty low end right there. Do some like more Joy Division-y kind of playing, like This little Bass Butler preamp has been kind of I knew it was going to be good after hearing it at NAMM, but having it now, it's like exactly what I would want. Hey Jay, Brian's asking you if you're feeling better. Were you sick? I hope you're doing okay. All right, there we go. Pretty good now. Sick, hard for a few days. No joke. I'm off work now though for at least another week. Jay, did you get tested? Or is it just like a really bad cold or something? Whatever it is, man, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. It's good to hear that you're doing better now. But please, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. I know you're saying you're taking some time off. You know, if you need to convince some people to take more time off, I think it would be worthwhile. I don't know. Did this person make it in live? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my father to the live chat. Yes, Dad, you made it to the live show. Glad you could. Thanks, Testament. I appreciate that. I'm not even a bass player. Maybe Glenn Fricker is right. Any idiot can play bass. Bass is just fun. It's just one of those things that because I don't pick it up every day, as soon as I get into some sort of groove, it's easy to get in a groove with a bass for me, a good bass. Since this is a good one, I don't have to fight it, and it's really, really nice. Jay, I'm 34, I have a good immune system. I could see it if I was older, it would be rough. The breathing issue was what hit me hard. Never had one in my life. Young, can barely talk because you don't get air. Damn, dude, that does sound like you may have got the virus. As Albus is saying, just please do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. I'm glad that you're improving, but do what you need to do, bud. Do what you need to do, and we'll be here. If you can get tested, maybe it would be worthwhile for you to do so. But don't take my word for it. I'm not a medical expert, so I don't know. Ryan's jamming on his Sanzera in open G. Not a bad thing to jam on. A cranked twinish amp and a open G telly. I could definitely get the Keith vibes, definitely. That's an odd bass chord. Bass is just one of those instruments that, you know, it's so related to the guitar, but it's not as simple as it being, you know, only 4 strings of the guitar tuned down an octave. It is a much different animal than that. Very much different. But it's a lot of fun to be one of those, you know, it's one of those things that, because I don't do it every day, getting the chance to explore with it is so cool. And I've even just been like working on some little like fingering exercises. So like I'll get like a 2, 3, 4, and work on like using multiple fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go to 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and trying to cycle through the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then triplets. So triplet, 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 8 note triplets. 16th notes. And I'm not like amazing at it, but again, it's just one of those things because, like I said, I don't play bass every day. And so when I pick up the bass, it's, you know, you're always trying to improve in some way. And one of the things that I decided that I wanted to do as I'm testing out this stuff is start to get a little bit more comfortable with fingerstyle and being able to keep rhythm with the, you know, picking hand, so to speak. So just doing the triplets with 3 fingers is easy. But I'd like to. I don't know many guys that can do the whole 4-finger thing. I think you may have seen Entwistle do it, but I could be wrong. I feel like I've seen Sheehan do it, but I could be wrong. But if anybody can do it, it probably would be Billy Sheehan. Oh, that's good stuff. Well, Jay, as long as you're on the mend, that's really good to hear. Obviously, we hope that you're as healthy as can possibly be, but if you have the opportunity, I don't think it would hurt you to go get tested. So, yeah, definitely Les Claypool would have done that, Aaron. That's true. Bored Hippie 420. Well, first off, welcome to the chat, Bored Hippie. I hope you're not too bored with this live stream, but he did say that Entwistle did the 4-finger thing. I thought I had seen him at one point using all his craziness, standing still like a statue and bass slung up real high and just... The stuff that he was able to do is just unreal. In Italy, they were hugging Chinese people to fight racism. says Russellmania. But again, with the bass thing, the thing that I guess I could say is most difficult for me is because I have loved so many bands whose bass playing style was all pick based. I tend to gravitate towards pick style quite a lot. So, you know, like the Beatles, Paul McCartney plays predominantly with a pick. Simon Gallup of The Cure plays with the pick pretty much all the time. So there's not a whole lot of bands that I really, really enjoy the bass work, and it sticks out and has a really crucial role in the music. Tool, of course. You know, doing any sort of Justin Chancellor stuff, any sort of other Tool stuff, it's kind of hard to do that with your fingers and get the sound like really, really there. Owen Son, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Glad to have you here. Red Spiral soon, he's asking. And he's referring to the Red Spiral Overdrive that I showed you guys earlier. Yes, my friend, a Red Spiral demo will indeed be coming. I don't know exactly when the demo will go up, and I don't even know when I'm going to film it, and the only reason I don't know is because I've already shot a ton of stuff before all the quarantines went up, and I basically was just kind of planning on not shooting it a whole lot. But I might have to make an exception for this because it's coming out and it's something that I think people are going to want to hear and they're going to probably want to buy when it comes out because this thing is freaking great. Freaking great. Got a question from Jay. Do you plan on doing any lessons still? You know, Jay, I've considered a couple different angles with online lessons, especially right now. So I kind of reserved most of my lesson time for, you know, I had planned originally for it to be just like a Patreon thing, where basically if you were a patron at a certain tier, you know, you got a certain amount of access to me monthly for lessons, one-on-one consultations, things like that. Just because there's been so much going on and there just was not any time. Having said that, at this point, if I feel like there's some interest from you guys in lessons, either, you know, just stylistic concepts, coaching as far as songwriting and composition, or even consultations for your songs and whatnot, I'm into it. You know, if we're all going to be inside, we might as well be doing what we love, and I'm lucky enough to be able to pick up a guitar every single day for work. And I'd love to be able to help you guys out during this time. If it's lessons on how to play certain styles and play certain things, if there's some little exercising tips or ways that I can help you guys grow your playing, show you some tricks about recording, talk about songwriting and all that sort of stuff, I would definitely be up for doing stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I can't do it all for free. I think it would really have to be something that I'd have to charge for, but I'd want to make it so that it would be affordable for everyone, you know, especially right now, because a lot of people's work is really up in the air right now, and I don't want anybody, you know, spending money erroneously. You know, definitely give you guys some value for your money, but at the same time, also make sure that you know, I'm not spending too much time and when I should be spending time trying to worry about keeping my house together. Aaron's asking, how rusty is my theory? My theory is not entirely rusty. When I left college, when I left MI, I got 2 big like file totes, and I organized every single piece of literature and curriculum that I got from MI, and I've kept it to this day. You know, let's see, 10 years later, I still have every single thing, and I keep my excuse me, and I go back to it and reference it regularly. So it really depends on the concept of what you're really wanting to learn, but I use some form of theory in everything that I do. You know, theory to me are the rules and the foundations for what we do musically, and you don't know how to break the rules until you know what the rules are. So you learn the rules, and then you figure out how you can break them. That's kind of my philosophy. So I always try to maintain some theoretical knowledge, and if theory is one of those things that you guys are looking for lessons on, or tips on, or ways to retain that information, because retaining music theory information can be very difficult, I'm happy to help you guys do it. We'll maybe consider working something out. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate that. Yeah, if it's something that a lot of you guys would be interested in, you know, honestly, I think the best thing to do would be to just message me either on Instagram, Facebook. You can email me, send me DMs. Let me know what it is that you're looking for, and if it seems like there's enough of you guys, like there's 11 people watching right now. There's been 15. It's been our highest number, I think. You know, I think if 10 people reach out to me and they're like, hey, I want to get a lesson in this, I want to get a lesson in that, you know, if I can confirm like 10 of them and set like a comfortable rate with everybody, then yeah, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do something like that. I don't see any reason why, you know, that wouldn't work. You know, I'm here working in the studio almost every day, so why not help you guys and make yourselves a little bit more musical during this time? Yes, we did get up to 17, I think. You're right, Aaron. I think that's enough bass for today. This is actually a really good thing that Gillis just brought up, and I want to make sure you guys see it. The gear helps the player. The theory helps the playing. I would say that that's true, but I would even go so far as to say that the gear also helps the playing. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than trying to do something musically and your gear just gets in the way. I've had it happen a lot, like a lot, over the course of my life. And it's one of those things where if a piece of equipment is inhibiting your creative workflow, it's not worth your time. A lot of people ask me when I demo stuff how I determine if something is good. And I think I'll go ahead, and since we're almost out of time, I'll tie it back to the guitars that I showed you at the beginning, these Alhambras. And it's basically comes down to this. If I feel like when I play a new piece of gear, I start playing it, I start getting into it. But when I know something's really good is when all of a sudden the musical ideas and the song ideas and the riff ideas, when those just start coming out like nobody's business. And for me, with this particular guitar, it was like every day that I picked it up for a week straight, I came up with one idea. And that is just incredible. Yep, I'm not surprised that the son is exactly like the father, Aaron. And the daughter's out cold. Alright, what should I play to close us out? I got something. Alright, boys and girls, it's about that time. We've been going for an hour and a half, and I'm happy that we did. I'm glad we're at this new earlier time where I can do a little bit more time, take your questions, hang out with you guys, and not feel like, oh my god, I'm going to have to go to sleep in an hour. I got a little bit more energy. What do you know? So I want to say thank you to all of you guys for coming to the show tonight, hanging out, asking questions, and getting in the chat. Jay, going out to you. Be well, my friend. Do your best to get healthy, back to 100%. Whatever you need to do, get your rest. Take some vitamins. Vitamin C goes a long, long way. Big thanks to the mods, Mr. Ben Coombs, Mr. Aaron Lee. We're missing Riley tonight, I believe. I've also recently made Terry a mod, I believe. It doesn't show me blue wrenches on StreamYard, so it's hard for me. Anyway, to everybody that was new that tuned in tonight, thank you so much for doing so. Big thanks to Testament for the super chat earlier. That was really kind of you. So for the time being, I just want to say we will have a demo up on Saturday. It's not going to be a traditional Stompbox Saturday show. It's going to be something a little bit different, a little bit more special for you guys. I just wanted to take some time this week to not have to work so hard. And this one was already in the can, so you guys will be seeing that on Saturday. So do as Ben has just suggested that you do. Please give this live stream a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share a link to it with your friends, or invite them to next week's SPJ Live. And please do click the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. Come back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And until then, my friends, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all out there great tone and happy stomping. And please, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you next week, friends.